Shalom, Yasharala. It's your brother Dawud Down from GMS Tampa Bay 07, coming at you with this here truth again. First and foremost, I want to give all praise unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Rakah, Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that taught me this truth and that ruled well. And salutation and much love for you all can pushing this truth for sincerity on the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions. Alright, we're going to jump into these news articles that popped off pretty much today. This here news article that of this event that happened pretty much today. All right, it's a little late on my end, my work schedule and everything like that. But nevertheless, prophecy must go forward, This is coming from RT. It says, the longest lunar eclipse of the century is coming, what you need to know. Now, this is actually a little bit older article, but all through the spirit, getting through it in time, this is actually speaking of today. It says, the longest lunar eclipse of the 21st century and the chance to see Mars up close is almost upon us. Here's everything you need to know to catch a mesmerizing event. All right. It says on Friday, July 27th, which is actually today, the lunar eclipse will stretch across most of Europe, Asia, Australia, and Africa, and part of South America. North and Central America won't be able to see the eclipse in their skies, but truly committed astronomers can catch the live stream online from 6 p.m. All right. And just going back here up in this article, it says, everybody's going to be able to see this, but basically America, we actually had another eclipse that happened over America. I believe it was last year, that only happened over America. It was like lights out over America pretty much with that eclipse, But the Lord is showing us all these here signs, showing us the times that we in, we're going to grab some scriptures that point that out. But nevertheless, it also says, Mars is up close, where you can see it, And actually where I'm sitting at, where I normally do my videos, that, I can actually see the moon from where I'm at, and I can actually see Mars pretty close up, It says, this will be the second lunar eclipse of 2018. The first took place on January 31st. Oh, Salakia, so it was actually this year. It says January 31st and lasted 3 hours and 23 minutes. However, the time span in which there was a total eclipse was 1 hour and 16 minutes, all right? That was the one that I was just speaking about, all right? The one that was, signaling pretty much lights out over America, But this one here has a even more, symbolic event, or more symbolic meaning to it, all right? This says the new total lunar eclipse is projected to last 1 hour and 43 minutes, all right? 4 hours altogether for the overall eclipse, making it the longest lunar eclipse of this century. All right, so it's going to be the longest lunar eclipse of this here century. First of all, that's a big enough sign there is, But I don't think it was this article. It was probably a different article I read when they was talking about the time of this. But this isn't the only article where they reference this here time. All right, but pretty much all the articles there is about this all reference how long it's going to be out there. They all say 1 hour and 43 minutes. A lot of them say it could be longer. All right, and we all know about that spiritual number, the 144. Which is the 144,000 that you can read about in Revelation, the 7th chapter. All right. So it says the new total lunar eclipse is projected to last 1 hour and 43 minutes. All right. Just 1 minute shy of 144. 4 hours long altogether for the overall total eclipse, making it the longest lunar eclipse in history, in this century, Salakia. The total eclipse is a rare occurrence which happens when the moon, Earth and sun align, and the full moon passes behind our planet, falling into the shadow. All right. So, first of all, this is really a rare occurrence. All right. This isn't just your everyday, average thing. All right. And like I said, when we go into the scriptures, you'll see that the Most High put these up here for signs for us to see. All right. It says, where was I at? I'll just start back at the top. Oh, here it is. It says large swaths of the planet will be cast into complete darkness as the moon makes its way across the continent. The upcoming eclipse is known as a blood moon because while the moon is in the shadow, it appears to turn red. All right. And, that's how they, here in Babylon or America today, that is ironic. That's the nickname they give it, a blood moon. Not necessarily because it's red. I mean, obviously that's, something referring to it, but you could have called it a fire moon or something else, but they use the word blood moon. All right. And when we go into the scriptures, that's exactly how the Most High, basically called it as well. All right. It says the upcoming eclipse is is also known as a blood moon because while the moon is in the shadow, it appears to turn a shade of red. Making the milestone even more special, Earth is passing between the Sun and Mars throughout July and September, but on the 27th, the red planet will be in the best condition in our sky since 2003. This means the observers on Earth will also have their closest and brightest view of the planet in 15 years. So, a lot of these, all right, let me actually backtrack a little bit because I was actually having this here conversation with my sister not too long ago, and I know that a lot of people's minds are entrapped in all this stuff, this astrology, and, where the people look into like the zodiac and stuff like that, and you have to understand in a deeper sense, the Most High, like basically like for an example, the body of the Most High, all right, is one Most High, and then he has a left hand and a right hand, all right. So basically, you all going through, we have different paths to get to the Most High, more or less to say, is what I'm trying to say. So there's a lot of things, pretty much everything mirrors itself. You have it in righteousness and wickedness, So the things that you see on the left-hand side is also on the right-hand side and vice versa. All right. Now you have these astrologers and these stargazers and people who come out with astrology and zodiac and all that extra shit, right? There's some wickedness behind all that. People go into that and being wicked, the fortune tellers and the sorcerers and the witches and the wizards and so on and so forth, right? But also on the right hand side, the Most High, matter of fact, we're going to get it in the scriptures. He set these things up to be signs for us, all right? Certain things, but the things that he told us, all right? It's like a treasure map, or I'll lead you on a what do they call it? Like a treasure hunt or something like that. They have something a little different, something like that, where you start off somewhere, they give you a clue, all right? You go with the clue, you solve that little clue or whatever, and it leads you to a location. You get to that location, there's another clue and another clue. It's showing you, it's kind of guiding you somewhere, all right? And this is how the Most High set up certain things. He told us, like the scriptures say, basically he declares the end from the beginning, all right? He already knows the ending. So he's leading us down a certain path and showing us certain things with certain signs, all right? And, what a coincidence that this here blood moon would happen where America couldn't see it, and it's the longest one, 143, could be longer, minutes long, or, it's an hour and 43 minutes long, So it could be longer, and then also this is the closest that Mars is going to, get to us in like 15 years, and, all these things are happening right here at these times, at the same time, in these times that we living in, all right? When you look at all these other things around us and all these other signs that's pointing towards certain things, you definitely can tell that we're in these times, with all the volcanoes going off, all the earthquakes happening all throughout the whole earth, all right? The animals and their, like them being dysfunctional and how do you say, basically discombobulated, just, mass migrations and movements and just, a massive fish kills and all kind of crazy shit like that going on, the distress of the nations, the people with perplexity, their minds are just going crazy right now. Then you have all the political arguments on an international scale, all these different things are going on, how much more when all these things are going on, the Most High showing us signs in heaven as well. All right. He's showing us these things, telling us not just is the whole planet Earth itself crying out, the people are crying out. All right. The animals are crying out. The heavens are crying out. Everything around you is crying out. Even your own spirit is crying out. All right. This is why, not to say in the sense that, you bugging or falling out of the truth, but this is why inside your body is, it feels like it's like, imagine your body being a pot, right? And you boiling water inside of it. And that boiling water is just boiling and bubbling, inside that pot. That's kind of how it is for, yourself as well, whether it be in righteousness or wickedness, the majority of the people are bubbling over and festering with their wickedness right now. All right. And the righteous men, I mean, they all also have the effect of the same wickedness is bombarding them as well. But inside of them, is that righteousness that's bubbling, trying to get out. The example was, Lot, Lot was surrounded by wickedness and all this vexation around him, but inside of him was that spirit of righteousness that was bubbling out of him. All right. So everything is crying out right now. All right. And we in these times and the Most High is showing us times to show us the times that we living in. All right. And like the scriptures say, actually we can start out with that. All right. So I could give me a second for this to load up. We'll come back to that. Let me get this. What was I thinking of? Oh, yeah. Got you. I got you. This is Luke chapter 10, verse 21. It says, "In that hour Yahweh shall rejoice in spirit and said, I thank thee, O Father, Lord of heaven and of earth, that thou hast hid these things from the wise and the prudent, and hast revealed them unto babes. Even so, Father, for it seemed good in thy sight." All right. And to break down the babes is not necessarily little infants. All right. Not talking about little babies like that, but metaphorically like that. All right. Basically those that like he told Nicodemus, roughly paraphrase, you can't come into this unless you be born again. And he was like, well, I got to go back into my mother's womb. No, you got to be baptized or what? Brainwashed. You have to have your brain washed away, come out of her, my people. Okay. Talking about Babylon. All right. You already been programmed, the falling away has come upon you. All right. So the name of Israel is no more remembrance in your head. You don't know who you are no more. You went away from the law, statutes, commandments. All right. And you've been programmed to be a Babylonian. All right. You became a Gentile. All right. You fell away. All right. But now, you know what I'm saying? You're going to be being grafted back in. You're being brought back, being adopted back, being brought back unto that, the right way of life, more or less to say, all right, into your right paths, your right estate, and in that process, you have to do what? You have to, because like I said, you already been programmed to be a Babylonian. You have to be brainwashed. You have to have your brain washed away from all of that wickedness that you was into, all right? And then you have to be brought back up. You have to be raised back up from as a baby, all right? Like the scriptures talk about milk to meat, You have to start all over and forget about the things that you was taught as a Babylonian, all right? And then come back to the law, statutes, commandments, and righteousness, all right? So that's what it's talking about these here babes, those that had, put off that old flesh, and became a new man, all right? But then it says, I thank thee, O Father, Lord of heaven and earth, that thou hast hid these things from the wise and the prudent, all right? So, and who are those people, all right? Those are those people that go to those theologian schools and these pastors and these priests who call themselves, men of the Most High or servants or prophets or whatever, whatnot. These people you find in these churches, your grandma, your uncle, and all these people who talk about that they know the Lord and all these things like that. All these people like that. Well, really, it's not really like your, Uncle Ray and them that stay in your mama house or your grandmama. Not them low level people, but really the pastors and the priests that's above these churches, the ones that's leading them, all right? Those are the wise and the prudent, the ones that say they know something, that went to theologian school for that, all right? But nevertheless, it says, I thank thee, O Father, Lord of heaven and earth, that thou hast hid these things from the wise and the prudent, okay? You go to the college, seminary school, theologian school, learn hermeneutics, all right? And study the Bible, so on and so forth. But what? These things was hid from you, all right? And has revealed them unto babes, all right, the ones that was baptized in his truth, all right, and put off, come out of her, my people, and put off that old flesh, all right. And even so, Father, it seemed good in thy sight. All things are delivered to me of my Father, and no man knoweth who the Son is but the Father, and who the Father is but the Son, and he to whom the Son is revealed. All right, verse 23. And he turned unto his disciples and said privately, Blessed are the eyes which see these things that you see. For I tell you that many prophets and kings have desired to see those things which you see and have not seen them, and to hear those things which ye hear and have not heard them. All right. So it says, blessed are the eyes that see the things which you see. All right. Because many prophets and kings have desired to see the things you see and not seen them. And see what things, they see the same shit that we see. All right. These people, all these people, this is talking about the kings and the prophets, like I was saying, the higher ups. All right. Not just Uncle Johnny and them in the basement and your grandmama and them, but even the higher ups. But how much more the ones that follow them? All right. Because these are the leaders, and the followers just follow what, what they've been led to see, and the blind lead the blind, But nevertheless, these people desire to see these things, but they don't see them. But look, we read the same prophecies, right? They in church, they talking about the mark of the beast and so on and so forth, but they don't know what the hell it's talking about. And then they also see the same ass commercials, same ass videos, same ass shit that we see talking about the RFID chip. All right. but they don't see the connection. That's the difference. You see, they don't have the spiritual eyes to see these things that's happening. All right. Same way where they read in the scriptures about matter of fact, that's where we're going to start at. All right. These same pastors and preachers, they see the same stuff right here. All right. They're reading out the same book that we read out of. All right. The only difference is that has been revealed unto us. All right. It says, blessed are your eyes to see the things that you see. All right. Because it was revealed unto you. All right. Starting out here in Genesis chapter 1, verse 14, it says, and Yahweh said, and the power said, let there be light in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and for years. All right. So, you know how like in school and stuff like that, you know, you have that map or that image of the solar system, right? And it's in like, you know, they got the little circular rings that show each planetary orbit, you know, and all that's going on, you know. And, you know, it's a little debatable if that's a, you know, accurate, you know, depiction of how the, you know, the heavens is actually set up there. But nevertheless, that's neither here nor there. That's on some other, you know, shit that Esau be on. But nevertheless, when you look at that image or that picture, that shows like, you know, the solar system with the rings and everything like that, you know, I've always looked at those things and you know, seeing that thing, it was like, man, this looks like a big clock, you know, when you, like, if you ever seen one of those old grandfather clocks with the wheels and the gears and everything in there like that, you know, and you know, I've always seen those things. My grandma's had those things in her house and stuff like that with the see-through case. You can see all the gears and the mechanism, you know, and I had understood, you know, I was always fascinated by those things, you know, seeing all the different gears moved from the big gears to the little gears, and the little gears taking faster than the bigger gears. And it was just like, man, all these different gears moving along just to make, you know, the hour and the minute hand go along and keep its time, you know? So it's like a clock, you know, and it was always in the same, you know, basic shape of a circle, more or less to say, you know? So whenever I saw that image of the solar system, I've always seen it as a, you know, as a clock in the sky, you know, it's something you look up, it's to show you signs and things, you know, and that's pretty much like the Most High is saying here. Look, he set these things up for you to be signs. All right. It says, Genesis chapter 1, verse 14. And the power said, let there be light in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night. All right. It's talking about an outer space, like what we call outer space. All right. Let there be lights. All right. Talking about, you know, the basically, the stars and the moon. All right. It says, or really the sun and the stars, or the sun and the moon. It says, let there be lights in the firmament of the heavens to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and for years. Okay. And then, you know, also as well as the stars, because again, like I said, it's kind of debatable whether or not that solar system, graph or whatever is accurate according to Esau, you know. Me just thinking as a man, I would, you know, just as a man, this is neither here nor there. I would believe that, you know, the earth is the center of, you know, that little depiction, and everything else revolves around us. We, you know, if Israel's the apple of the Most High's eye, you know, that to me as a man just makes a little more sense. But again, that's neither here nor there. But nevertheless, these things have been made as signs for us to, you know, look up, and the Most High says certain things in an array for us. All right. As a guide to us. All right. We're going to get into some of the things that he spoke about. This is Acts chapter 2, verse 17. And it shall come to pass in the last days, which we living in today, all right, saith Yahweh, I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy, and your young men shall see visions, and your old men shall dream dreams. All right. And so now when it's talking about all flesh, you know, well, actually, you know, for the most part, it's talking about Israel. All right. But in all actuality, you know, I can't really speak on that. I was going to say these other nations are actually doing this as well, too, you know, but not saying that they, you know, the Lord's servants or anything like that, because the Most High can use, you know, heathens to have, like Nebuchadnezzar is a prime example. You know, he was a heathen that the Most High gave a dream and a vision. All right. And in that vision, you know, not to say it was concerning us, but it was for us to understand. All right. That's why we use it. And we use, you know, that statue, Nebuchadnezzar's dream with the statue. All right. That would, I mean, it was kind of for him to know about, but it was way more important for us. All right. So these people, like in modern day today, you'll see You know, like I said, I don't know if these are actually heathen or our people with the confusion of faces, but you'll see them on YouTube with these weird dreams that they be having, and they don't really understand what the hell they talking about. But, you know, when you go through the scriptures, some of them dreams be pretty accurate, you know, but they're in their own folly and their own wickedness, you know, not knowing and understanding the scriptures. You know, they might think, you know, because I seen this one chick, she was talking about, oh my God, I had a dream that there was some aliens, and the aliens came and they was demons, and they had these UFOs, and they started sucking up people, but they was only sucking up like black, Latinos, and Native American people, like really dark skinned brown people and all these and stuff like this. You know, there was a couple light skinned or white people, but mainly it was just dark skinned people, you know. And this was actually an Israelite, but she didn't know she was an Israelite. She was calling herself a Christian and trying to call herself, I don't know if she was calling herself a prophetess or whatever the hell she had going on. But nevertheless, you know, her dream was accurate, you know, according to the scriptures, but her interpretation of it was wicked. All right. She didn't understand what the hell the vision was. She didn't understand that was actually a vision of the elect and the 1/3 of the nation of Israel being taken up, being delivered. All right. She didn't understand that because she didn't understand she was an Israelite. She thought she was a damn whatever nation she thought she came out of, according to the American terms. You know, she might have thought she was a black woman, you know, and she was just a Christian, you know. And so she just thought that was like some wicked shit that was going on, but she didn't understand. All right. But, you know, like the scriptures say, look, your sons and your daughters are going to have these dreams and these visions, you know, in the last days. All right. And it says, and on my servants and on my handmaidens will I pour out in those days my spirit, and they shall prophesy. All right. And like basically right now, what you're listening to, right? You know, this ain't nothing, like I said, you know, or like the scriptures say, you know, the Most High hid this from the wise and the prudent, the ones that went to school for this, meaning the people who desire more or less in their so-called carnal hearts to learn this type of stuff and to do this. All right. You know, the real men of the Lord, you know, we might have had some kind of desire for spirituality and stuff like that, but that wasn't our main goal and motivation in life, was to do what we're doing today, reading the scriptures on the internet and doing this and that, you know. And like me just thinking carnally, if I would have thought that I would have ever actually put a YouTube video up or something like that, I'd be like, yo, man, I would have been doing it with the purpose to make some kind of money. Other than that, I don't feel like I'm going to be putting myself out there for the whole world to see. That's just, I'm not a very public person. All right. But the Most High poured His Spirit out upon me to be doing something that would actually go against what I would do carnally in my own flesh. All right. And gave me the knowledge, the wisdom, and understanding of these scriptures, to break down these scriptures, to break it down to his flock. All right. His sheep, to feed his sheep. All right. It's not upon my own will, or me or none of the other brothers out there teaching in truth and sincerity. This isn't under our own will, under our own interpretation. This is how the Most High had it set up. All right. And it says, verse 19, and I will show wonders in heaven. This is the point I wanted to get at. And I will show wonders in heaven above, and the signs in the earth beneath, and blood and fire and vapor of smoke. So the signs in the earth beneath, like I was telling you about before, you know, the whole earth is crying out. All right. The fish are crying out. The oceans themselves is crying out. All right. The earth itself with the volcanoes and the earthquakes is crying out. All right. All the other animals are beaching themselves and mass migrating and just dying. And a lot of the animals are becoming vexed and you know, like with the raccoons with the rabies and shit like that, where they call them zombie raccoons or whatever, whatnot, you know. The minds of these people is destroyed. You know what I'm saying? They just, everybody's bugged the fuck out, you know. People is at odds with each other, you know. These nations are at odds with each other. All right. Everything is just at odds with one another. All right. That's what it's talking about, where it says signs in the earth beneath. All right. And then it says blood and fire, vapor of smoke. All right. Really it's talking about the war and then the thermonuclear war that's coming. All right. But going back up to the top, it says, like, speaking about the times that we living in that's actually occurring today, it says, I will show wonders in heaven above. All right. And that's talking about this here. Let me just read verse 20 or 19 and then jump to verse 20. And I will show wonders in heaven above. All right. Verse 20, the sun shall be turned into darkness. All right. And that's what happened. Like I said, or like the article said, it's like earlier this year. All right. Where it was like basically lights out over America, and only over America. Only America could see that. All right. Babylon the Great. All right. Signing the signal to the downfall of this wicked ass kingdom. All right. The eyes of the Lord are upon the sinful kingdom, saying, I will utterly destroy it off the face of the earth. All right. That's what that sign and that wonder was that was in heaven, all right, to America, all right. It says the sun shall be turned into darkness and the moon into blood before the great and notable day of the Lord come. All right. So, and that's what's happening today, but not here in America. All right. The people of North and Central America can't see this here blood moon, but what it says it's going to happen before the great and notable day of the Lord come. All right. So before Judgment Day fully come in, before, because we are living in Judgment Day today. All right. That's why you see all these wars and all this crazy shit popping off on the earth. All right. But when how they say, final round, when you in that final moment in the climax or the peak of the moment. All right. When the Most High come down with all his wrath. All right. And that moment is talking about. All right. But all these things going to happen before that great notable day. We living in those times like, let me just grab that real quick. All through the spirit. This Matthew 24 verse 3 says, and he sat upon the Mount of Olives, and the disciples came unto him privately, saying, tell us, when shall these things be, and what shall be the sign of thy coming and the end of the world? All right. And I'm gonna jump down to verse 6. It says, and you shall hear of wars and rumors of wars, and see that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. All right. And jumping back up to the end of verse 6, it says, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. All right. So those are actually the days that we living in right now. All right. With the wars and rumors of wars and the earthquakes and volcanoes going off in diverse places, and these people just going crazy. You know what I'm saying? And the famines. All right. All kind of crazy shit popping off. All right. Those are the days we living in. But what the scriptures say, the end is not yet. These are the beginning of sorrows. All right. But then we just read about in the book of Acts. Let me get back over there, actually. Verse 20, it says 2 and 20, the sun shall be turned into darkness and the moon into blood before the great notable day. All right. Before, that's what we just read about in Matthew 24, the days we living in. These are the signs, that the Lord has set forth before us. All right. When he said that, look, I know I declared the end from the beginning. He had already declared all of this. All right. And we just now, we literally living in the days of prophecy. All right. I'm reading to you that the prophecy is coming to pass right here. All right. And that actually, happened on this. Well, actually, we into the next day. But, as far as, we still in nighttime now, but that's when it happened. All right. One more for you. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 6. Oh, 6 and 12. And I beheld, and when Salakia, and I beheld when he had opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake. All right. And the sun became black as sackcloth of hair. All right. And again, that's those signs that we're talking about. All right. But then also, you also have the same thing going to happen. I believe it's Joel chapter 2 that you read about that in, where, it's going to get dark like that as well. I think it says it over there too. We'll take a look. But where when the nukes go off, you're going to have that, what they call a nuclear winter, which is going to cause the sun to turn black as well, But also we have the same thing, the same occurrence that just happened here in America. All right. Just earlier this year. All right. It says, and the sun shall become black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon as blood. All right. And so, that's talking about those signs and the signals that's in the heavens that the Most High had set forth for us to see. All right. To let us know the times that we living in. All right. Let me see if, oh no, see, yeah, this is just talking about those nukes. All right. This isn't really talking about none of the signs, in heaven as far as, right. Right. So yeah, when you read over here, this time when it's talking about basically this, so like here, just to throw this in there for a little further edification, right here, this is Joel 2. I think there's another passage a little higher. Hold on. Um, yeah, 2 and 10. And the earth shall quake before them, and the heavens shall tremble, and the sun and the moon shall be dark, and the stars shall withdraw their shining. All right. Now, in this passage, is not actually talking about, what this lesson that that I'm talking about as far as like the eclipses and the signs in the heaven. This is actually coming from, a nuclear winter. All right. You can look that up. And that's something that Lord willing, another day, I'll go into this here Joel chapter 2, but that's talking about thermonuclear destruction. All right. But with that, Lord willing, this here lesson was edifying into the elect. All right. Until next time, I say, call halal Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shah, Bahashim, Rakah Kadash. Double honor to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone that taught me this truth and that rule well. And salutation and much love for your Akim pushing this truth and sincerity on the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions. Stay strong. Shalom.